All right, 12 games were played on October 24th. Let's go. Milwaukee Bucks 2-0 to start the year, beat the Raptors 122 to 116. Giannis 31 points, 20 rebounds, 7 of those offensive, 7 assists, 11 to 14 from the field, 2 for 2 from 3, and then 7 to 13 from the line. Still has some shooting woes to work on. But he's now 3 for 5 on threes through his first 2 games. He only took 1 3 per game last year. His career average is 2, so just keep an eye on that. We might be bumping his 3-point rating just a few points up. He got left open, but one of them that he took, he actually stepped behind the line and didn't hesitate, so he was looking to shoot it there. And the gaudy line, Toronto doesn't really have anyone who can guard him. We'll get to that in just a second. Kevin Porter Jr. out with a sprained ankle that he suffered in the opener. So Ryan Rollins got the start. I did switch him back to point guard. 13 points, 3 steals. Also worth noting that Gary Harris, he was actually back in the opener. So the Bucks, aside from KPJ, are healthy. Cole Anthony filled in and had 23 points, 7 assists off the bench. Gary Trent had 20 points, hit 4 threes. He got up to an extremely slow start last season, losing his starting job. That is not the case this year. Worth noting also that if you notice anything different, I did update all of my Bucks ratings. I actually had them done before the on like my previous version of the roster, before they added like all the two-way players and whatnot. So I was able to upload those in. So that's going to be your big roster change. I would like to actually give a full breakdown to the Bucks. That was like the purpose of me maybe finishing them, and uh, I did a whole layout for them. I just don't have the time at present while we're powering through all 30 teams, not just one. But hopefully on one of my off days, I can knock that out for you guys. Let's head on over to Toronto. They dropped to 1-1. Brandon Ingram, 29 points. RJ Barrett, back-to-back games where he shot 9 of 12 from the field. He finished with 20 points. And then Emmanuel quickly, similar to Gary Trent, his season got derailed by injuries last year, but he looks like he's back with a vengeance this year. 19.7 rebounds, 8 assists. Scotty Barnes was solid as well, but ultimately fell to the Bucks in the end, heading over to the Hawks. Kristaps Porzingis missed this game with the flu, so Onyeka Okongwu got the start. He had 17 points, 3 blocks, was 1 for 3 from threes. Keep an eye on that. 33 minutes, great insurance policy for Porzingis. Mo Gay also stepped up, providing a little bit of a stretch element, hit 2 threes, had 13 points, 8 rebounds. Zachary Risache was also out. He rolled his ankle in the opener. So Mikhail Alexander Walker got the start, 19 points, 4 assists, 8 of 18 from the field. But that was 7 of 8 on twos and then 1 of 10 on threes. A little bit of deck shuffling with the guard positions. I ended up reverting to what I had for them during the preseason or before the preseason, where I have Alexander Walker, who's natural 2, and then Luke Kennard, who's a little bit of a combo guard. He uh, I had him at point guard. Well, he was a 50-50 at point guard and shooting guard last year with the Grizzlies. He was the player who came off the bench coming in for Trae Young. I believe he was the first sub of the game. So while Kennard is technically the point guard, I think the uh, offensive ball handling in those lineups probably falls to Jalen Johnson. So like Jalen Johnson is the point guard. Maybe it makes sense to make his secondary position point guard. Um, I have to do a little bit more investigation on that before I make that change. But let's head on over. Oh, and I'm sorry, and Trae Young, of course, who was the actual point guard in this game, had 25 points, 6 assists. Didn't shoot it particularly well from the field, but he was 10 of 12 from the free throw line, back to his old tricks. And they took down the Magic 111 to 107 to move up to 1-1 on the year. Orlando, on the other hand, dropped to 1-1. Franz Wagner, 27 points, ice cold night for Paulo Banchero, 11 points on 4 of 15 shooting, 0 for 5 from 3. Desmond Bain struggled a little bit with the shot, 15 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Jalen Suggs, he had another efficient game with 11 points on 4 of 5 shooting, 3 for 4 from threes. Off to a really good start after not playing in the preseason at all. He will, though, miss back to back against the Bulls today. So keep an eye on that. The Magic did get good play out of Tyus Jones and Anthony Black in the preseason. And the Bulls are, if you're going to be resting guys, it was good that they went for it against the Hawks. But the Bulls are generally going to be one of those teams that you can get away with resting a guy or two against. Heading over to the Knicks, who moved up to 2-0 on the year. 105-95 over the Celtics. Jalen Brunson had 31 points, could not be stopped by Boston. I mentioned that when I did the VJ Edgecombe breakdown in the last video, where he had 34 points in the opener, which was the most for a rookie since Wilt Chamberlain. That one of the reasons why that occurred is Boston doesn't have any rim protection whatsoever. They're playing a very small lineup, and all their bigs are very inexperienced, shall we say. So Brunson had a field day. Towns also dominated. Again, they don't have anybody remotely close to his talent level. So he had 26 and 13, even though he was questionable for the opener. So the Celtics certainly weren't able to bring him down. Mitchell Robinson, he was out again. So Cat started at the 5 versus a small Boston team. It's not a great sign that Robinson's already having his minutes managed after, or not minutes, but games managed after playing the entire preseason. I might have to switch Cat back to center uh, if this keeps up. Josh Hart, it's worth noting, did return from his injury. He came off the bench. He had 2 points, 1 of 8 shooting from the field, had 14 rebounds in only 19 minutes of action. So while he wasn't particularly effective offensively, again, against such a small Boston team, Josh Hart was certainly able to make his presence felt. If anything, it's almost not fair that the Celtics don't have anybody that can really match up with him. Their power forward is like Jaylen Brown. Um, Power forwards, of course, are getting smaller and smaller every day. So OJ Anunoby started at the 4 with Hart coming off the bench. Miles McBride joined the first unit in this one. He had 10 points, 31 minutes. This would have to hold. He would have to keep starting over Mitchell Robinson for me to change his position to the 2. And then Ariel Hukporti was a DNP CD after starting the opener versus Cleveland. I think it's fair to say that the matchup against Cleveland was clearly matchup based. They have two very high quality bigs in Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, whereas the Celtics, it made sense to go small because they don't have anybody of note. So the Knicks shot only 38% from the field, but they dominated the boards in this one. 21 offensive rebounds to Boston's 29 defensive rebounds. So Towns and Hart certainly were able to generate more possessions for Jalen Brunson to go nuts. In going over to those Celtics, who dropped to 0-2. Jaylen Brown, off to a good start this year, was banged up towards the end of last year, but he had 23 points in this one. Sam Hauser, 18 points. All of them was 6 of 12 or 6 of 10 from 3. Those were all of his shots, all threes, no twos. Peyton Pritchard and Derek White, they both struggled with their shots combined for 23 points, 7 of 28 from the field, 4 of 18 from 3. So the Celtics, they got killed on the glass, which is going to be a common theme. It's going to be tough for them to win games where the backcourt is not shooting the ball well. Going over to the Cavs, who I mentioned a second ago, they moved up to 1-1, split the New York series, losing to the Knicks, but beating the Nets 131 to 124. Donovan Mitchell had a big one, 35 points, 10 of 15 from the field, 6 of 10 from 3, 9 of 12 from the free throw line, 5 assists, 3 steals. As I mentioned last time we covered them, when the Hornets blew out the Nets by 20, the Nets are trash. So Donovan Mitchell slept walk his way to 35 points in this one. They're not going to be a good defensive team. The Nets are at all. Sam Merrill had 22 points, perhaps as another indicator that the defense wasn't up to snuff. Jarrett Allen added 22 versus former team. Evan Mobley had 13, 8 and 5, a little muted compared to his teammates, but he also was 1 of 4 from 3. So just another thing to keep track of. He took 7 in the opener, so he's shooting them at a much higher pace than he did last season. Craig Porter Jr. I've been singing his praises for the entire preseason. Lonzo Ball is on a minutes restriction and is not going to play back-to-backs. Craig Porter Jr. in this one. So Lonzo did play, but he wasn't particularly effective in this one. I don't believe he scored. So Craig Porter Jr. stepped up. He had 14 points in 14 minutes. Shot 6 of 6 from the field. Going to have to get his rating up. He's going to be a big part of what they are doing this year, especially while Darius Garland is out. It sounds like Darius Garland might be back first week of November, but for the meantime, Porter Jr. is going to get opportunities to improve his stock with the team and league-wide. Moving over to someone who's not raising their stock league-wide. The Brooklyn Nets dropped to 0-2. Cam Thomas, Michael Porter Jr., they both had bounce-back games. Cam Thomas, 33 points, 9 assists. And Porter Jr., 31 points, 13 to 22 from the field, 5 to 10 from 3. Pretty efficient, but did not get to the free throw line in this one after taking 22 field goal attempts. Probably not going to happen too often. A guy with his back injuries playing for a washed or just a super tanking team like this, he's going to take a lot more jumpers, I think. Zaire Williams was a star off the bench, had 25 points on 9 of 13 from the field, 6 of 9 from 3, one of the better shooting games of his career. Might even be a career high for the threes made. I didn't actually check. Ben Saraf had another underwhelming start, 2 points, 1 assist, 18 minutes. Igor Demon, again, was the better of the rookies in this one. 9 points, 4 assists, played 25 minutes. I think he'll probably end up as a starter before long. Nolan Traore was a DNP CD in this one, and that's ran with a 10-man rotation. So I did change them up, which adjusts their minutes loads. The Detroit Pistons got their first win of the year, moving up to 1-1. 115 to 111 over the Houston Rockets. Asar Thompson, who won the Battle of the Twins, had 19 points, hit a 3. Jalen Duren was ejected in this one, had 6 points in only 12 minutes, elbowing Amen Thompson in the face. So Asar won that exchange double, and that might have led to Amen Thompson's struggles in this one. We'll get to the Rockets in just a second, but Isaiah Stewart, he fouled out in 17 minutes, so Paul Reed ended up being the hero of this game. He played 13 minutes, made a crucial late basket. No, sorry, he didn't. He played 19 minutes. He had 13 points. Had a crucial late basket. Had 9 rebounds, 2 blocks, 6 of 10 from the field. Also hit a 3. So Paul Reed, probably the best third string center in all of basketball. Definitely, I think I want to get his rating up a little. Him and Stewart should have much higher ratings. Maybe Jalen Duren a little lower. Duren not exactly lighting the world on fire after not getting his extension. Cade Cunningham, 21 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, but 8 turnovers versus Amen Thompson. Duncan Robinson got the start at the 2 as Levert and Ivy are both hurt. He had a bounce-back game himself, 17 points, 4 threes. Ron Holland also fouled out in this game in only 13 minutes, but he did have 11 points. Also, we're noting Marcus Sasser is out, so yeah, they are very strapped at the guard position. The Pistons are. Coach J.B. Bickerstaff got his 300th win. He is making him the first father-son duo to get the 300 coaching wins. His father, the late Bernie Bickerstaff, coached a long time in the league. Houston Rockets. They dropped to 0-2 on the year, despite the efforts of Kevin Durant in the home opener. 9 of 18 from the field, 3 from 3, 16 of 18 from the free throw line. So he was directly responsible for quite a few players fouling out in this one. But aside from him, the rest of the team struggled. Alperen Şengün, 17 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 5 of 18 from the field, so less than a point per shot. 0 for 2 from 3 after going 5 of 8 in the opener. So we are going to be keeping an eye on his three-point production in the early going. 7 of 10 from the field. He's a 70% free throw shooter for his career. He was 10 of 11 in the opener. So, again, something we will be keeping an eye on. The rest of the team pretty much struggled aside from Durant. Amen Thompson, he got elbowed in the face early. 10 points, 2 for 8 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3. I did boost his three-point tendency up based on the first game. I probably, yeah, let's actually just drop it back down again. I think he learned his lesson after that 0 of 7 game. So I'm going to drop this back down to 15. And then Jabari Smith Jr., 11 points, 3 for 14 from the field for him. So lots of guys struggled. Reed Shepard also struggled. 9 points, 3 for 11 shooting, over 7 on twos. He did hit 3 threes, though, so he did have 9 points. Kind of salvage his night, but it's not a great start to the year for Shepard. And it makes sense why they decided to end up starting Amen Thompson over him, just so they wouldn't overwhelm him. NBA is tough for young point guards. We'll just say that. Steven Adams was the closest thing you could call to a bright spot besides Durant. He had 11 points, 10 rebounds, 6 of those offensive, 4-4 from the field, 25 minutes. I mainly bring this up because it was only 4 minutes for Clint Capella, so Capella is barely in the rotation. Adams is a big part of what Houston is doing. Şengün, that means, played most of the back of 5 minutes in this one, as the Rockets went a little bigger than they did in the game against OKC. OKC, of course, runs double big with Shet and Hartenstein. So that might have led to the decrease in minutes for Capella. But either way, I definitely want to get Adams' rating a little bit higher than Capella's, just to reflect the importance of those guys. As I've been harping for the last couple of years, the overall rating is what determines the minutes that players get in the rotation and also whether or not they start. So we definitely want to get Capella down to like the 9th man, I want to say. And I'm actually going to adjust their bench depth down to 9. Because this is essentially the rotation that they have been running. So Capella getting 22 minutes a game is too much. Given that him and Adams are totaling 48 minutes in the way things are now, but Şengün, as I mentioned, he does see a lot more time at the 5, so we do want to get Capella down so that Şengün can get some actual minutes at the 5. Let's head on over to the Miami Heat, who played their first game since the Terry Rozier scandal broke. Game got out of hand early. They beat the Grizzlies 146-114, biggest blowout of the year so far. Game got out of hand early. The Heat went on a 17-0 run in the first quarter, ended the quarter with a 44-25 lead. So some gaudy lines for the bench players as a result. Khalil Ware got the start, had 19 points, 9 rebounds. So Nikola Jovic off the bench. I feel like I'm going to be swapping the positions for Bam and Ware throughout the year. Ware, it seems like he plays well as a starter and not so much coming off the bench. So that's something that the Heat definitely have to figure out. They definitely could use some more depth behind him. Maybe with Rozier being on the outs, it would be beneficial if the Heat could bring back Precious Achiuwa. They definitely would. I mean, they I don't think they wanted to cut him. It's just a matter of like the luxury tax and apron and everything. But if they get like assurances from the NBA that Rozier is probably going to come off their books, I guess probably they won't do anything until Rozier gets like officially banned by the league. It's worth noting that Jonte Porter, when he got banned by the league, it was 3 months prior to him pleading guilty in his case, which, by the way, is also connected to this case. So not looking great for Rozier or Coach Chauncey Billups, who we'll get to once we get to the Blazers. But Jovic had 20 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists off the bench. Bam at the 4 had 24 points. He was 4 of 8 on threes after not taking any in the opener. So again, just another big who we have to keep an eye on. Obviously, this was one of the foibles for Bam not having like the greatest of years. He wasn't super efficient with the he actually wasn't efficient at all with the three, but it is something that he has been working on. As I do think he prefers to play the four long term. Jaime Jaquez was solid in this one off the bench, 17, 10, and 6. But again, the game got out of hand early, and Memphis doesn't have the greatest second unit in the world, shall we say. Let's head on over to them. John Morant was good in the opener, not so good in this one. 12 points, 4 of 16 from the field. Jaren Jackson Jr. chipped in 19. Santi Aldama was okay, 13 points in 20 minutes. And Colin Coward was again a bright spot. He was 5 of 5 in the opener. This time he was 5 of 9, had 16 points. He could end up in the starting lineup before the end of the year. KCP not exactly lighting the world on fire. Jalen Wells also struggled with his shot. Coward is basically Wells with except he was drafted in the lottery instead of like 39th or 40th, whatever Wells was drafted at. 39th. Hey, I've got a pretty good memory on those draft picks. But uh, yeah, the Wells he was last year's starter, so they're going to keep him just from the pedigree perspective. But wow, they're both also the same age, so it wouldn't be totally shocking if we saw a change there. Going over to the Spurs, who Wemby's a walking highlight machine, man. They moved up to 2-0 against the Pelicans, 120 to 116. Wemby outdueling Zion Williamson. 29 points, 11 rebounds, 9 blocks, nearly had a blocks triple double, fouled out in 32 minutes. A lot of those blocks and fouls were because the smaller Zion kept going at him. So Zion was able. He's much better in the open court going downhill against Wemby. When you got Wemby on the back foot, it's possible that you can get around him and like power. You like use Zion was able to use his strength to like power through Wemby a few times, but there was a possession where he tried to post Wemby up using his size, and like that he got blocked twice in the same possession, and then he tried posting up on like another possession and got blocked again. It was not. I don't think he went back to that after that. But yeah, Wemby well, he was the favorite for Defensive Player of the Year last year. In case anyone forgot, he's looking like he's probably going to be the favorite this year. He's clearly the most dominant, the most impactful player, I would say, on the defensive end in the NBA. And he looks like Akeem Olajuwon on the offensive end. So really, really exciting development. Probably need to get his rating above a 95. He looks like he's going to be. There's a lot of players who are off to the races to start the year, but he's close to the top of the list. Devin Vassell was solid, 23 points. Stephon Castle started again at point guard, 16 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Solid line, right? No, he had 10 turnovers in this one, although he did get a few lobs to Wemby. They have been working on their chemistry or whatever. I would like to see De'Aaron Fox work on his chemistry and find Wemby for lobs. Wasn't super high on the Fox acquisition. Castle probably does fit the timeline better than Wemby. Maybe they trade Fox for value on his extension, like in a year or two or something. But I'm not, this was a bad game, not the greatest game for Castle. He certainly is going to have some growing pains as a second-year player, but yeah, I'm not. I do think he's a solid part of what they're doing in the future. Dylan Harper also a pretty good part of what they're doing. He had 13 points, and if they ever do move on from Castle instead of Fox, Harper might be the reason why. Luke Cornett was solid in this one, 14 points, 12 rebounds, played 34 minutes. Wemby is seeing time at the four this year. They are running Wemby and Cornett lineups. Last year they weren't running a center next to Wemby. So there are games where there are parts of the game where he's like the roll man and just he's such an easy lob target. He's spending a lot of time near the rim, but then when Cornett's on the court, he's spending more time on the perimeter. So just what an exciting player. I love him. I think he's my favorite watch in the league right now. Going to the Pelicans. I actually like watching Zion Williamson too. They dropped to 0-2, but they have been competitive in those games. Lost to the Grizzlies by one, and then lost to the Spurs by four. They did sign, of course, because the Pelicans they can't have a season that isn't plagued by injuries. All of their bigs are hurt, so the reason they waived Jaden Springer yesterday is they brought in DeAndre Jordan. So he plays in it's going to be his 17th season. He's 37 years old. And he's going to be hanging out in New Orleans, giving some veteran leadership. He didn't play in this one, but yeah, he's now part of the team. They definitely need size, at least while these guys are all sidelined. He may not stick the entire year, as the league-wide cut-down date is January 10th. But for the moment, I think solid ed there. Zion had 27 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals, 8 of 18 from the field, 11 of 16 from the free throw line. Had an and one dunk on Wemby to start the game. And as I mentioned, he used his physicality to power through and around Wemby all throughout the game. Trey Murphy also another breakout. He needs to have a higher overall rating. I need to 2K's rating for him are trash. I need to get those up. 24 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. Sadiq Bey ended up starting uh, in this one due to the absence of all the bigs. But it was really Herb Jones who was the starting center. He was the one guarding Wemby, and he completely struggled in this one with his offensive game. 0 points, over 8 from the field, had 5 fouls. Just another all defense player who is completely overwhelmed by Victor Wembanyama. Derek Queen was solid in this one, 15 points, fouled out in 35 minutes, getting a lot of extra run because, again, they don't have any fives. And Queen is kind of like a hybrid 4 or 5, like Alperen Şengün, who's a reasonable comp for him. Probably need to get his overall rating up. Jeremiah Fears, another player who we're going to have to get his rating up too. He is the backup point guard ahead of Jose Alvarado, it looks like. 13 points in 29 minutes. Alvarado was a DNPCD in the last one. He played 3 minutes in this one. And at the current rate, I wonder if it's before long where Fears is starting over Jordan Poole. Poole, for his part, had 21 points, but did so on 8 of 20 shooting. And maybe they, um, somebody who's Fears is one of the most athletic guards, speed-wise in the NBA. It might make sense to pair him in the starting unit with Zion Williamson, although maybe they also do need Jordan Poole shooting next to Zion. Yeah, I guess. Well, I mean, in this game, Fears would have made more sense than Poole, I think, because they actually maxed out with shooting by adding Sadiq Bey to the starting unit rather than having one of these plotting fives. But I digress. Let's head on over to the Washington Wizards, who upset the Dallas Mavericks 117 to 107, moved to 1-1 on the year. Keyshawn George was the story of this one. Career high, 34 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks. Most improved player generally doesn't go to second year players, but George looks like he's taken the biggest step or biggest leap, I should say, out of all of the sophomores so far. So really good to see from him. I probably got to get him into the 80s. If he keeps having performances like this, he should definitely be the highest rated player on the team. Alex Sarr also looked like he's experiencing some modest improvement. 2K's got him mega overrated. I probably would have him around like 79. They have him at like 83 or something like that. So I have major disagreements with his ratings. I think he's actually probably the most overrated player in NBA 2K26, but he's been solid through the first 2 games. The reason why I'm so low on his rating is his 2 point finishing was horrendous last season, and it looks to be improved. He's at least at 50%, which was not the case last season. 14 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists for him, 5 of 10 from the field. And again, worth noting, 0 for 1 from 3. Didn't take any threes in the last one. He took too many threes, I think, uh, in his rookie season. So I think that's a solid development. He needs to develop as a shooter, and then I mean not as a shooter, as a finisher, and then the 3-point shot that's going to be easier for him to add later. He's more of like a Jaren Jackson Jr. Type of player. So we've got our eye on the young guys in Washington. Another one of those guys is Trey Johnson. I probably need to get his rating a little higher. He had another 17 off the bench. I believe he had 16 in the opener. He's going to be a microwave scorer all year, at least until coming off the bench, at least until CJ McCollum leaves the team around the trade deadline, and then look out. So he's a sleeper rookie of the year candidate, in part because Cooper Flag, at the moment, not exactly lighting the world on fire. He did get another start at point guard, um, 18 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. So a better individual line than the last one, but he did also have 5 turnovers. And of course, the Mavs dropped to 0-2, losing to a team that probably everybody expected them to beat, the Washington Wizards. So the loss of the Wiz might mean an end to the point guard experiment. At some point, Dallas needs to get serious. Because they have Anthony Davis, they traded for him to win now, right? They can't be, it's not fuck around time with him. And he wasn't fucking around. 27 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists. But he did have 5 turnovers in this one. Dallas got killed by turnovers. They had 21 versus the Washington Wizards, who were among the worst defensive teams in the league last year. Pretty inexcusable. PJ Washington had a solid line with 18 and 9, but again, 8 turnovers, killing them. He is a small forward at the moment, so hit the small. This might be another reason why the small ball lineup is, or not small ball, but big ball. PJ Washington at the three is kind of small ball. Well, he's small, but he's small forward size, 6'7", 230. It's the same size as a Kawhi Leonard, but uh, you know, these guys are not natural ball handlers, so against defensive pressure, they probably coughed it up a little more than they would have liked to. And D'Angelo Russell, I wonder if he's like nursing an injury or they're just not happy with him at all for whatever reason. But he only played 8.5 minutes in this one, and again because they're playing Cooper at the one. But like this is why they brought him in to like manage the game, not necessarily to be like a microwave scorer or like leading the second unit or whatever. I think they need stability in the starting lineup and just use Cooper as the three before the season runs away from Dallas. Speaking of someone who ran away from Dallas, skinny Luka is dominating to start the year. The Lakers moved to 1-1 on the year, blowing out the Timberwolves 128-110. 49 points for Luka in this one. He is averaging 46 points per game through 2 games with 92 points in the first two. That is a Lakers record. Also added 11 rebounds, 8 assists, 14 of 23 from the field, 5 of 12 from three, 16 of 19 from the free throw line. Looking like, I hate to say MVP caliber early in the year, but there are a lot of guys who are just doing historic things to start, and Luke is one of them. Austin Reeves, 25 points, 7 rebounds, 11 assists. He struggled against the Wolves in the playoffs, so good to see him have a little bit of a bounce back here. Hachimura, 23 points, 10 of 13 from the field. Those three combined for 97 points in this one. DeAndre Ayton was also solid with 15 points. In games where Ayton's actually going well, we're probably going to see like a huge disparity between the Lakers' like win-loss record and like when he plays well, they're probably going to win games because it means it's like everybody's playing well, most likely. And then when he's not on his like quiet nights, they probably just don't have enough to win, especially in games where LeBron is out. They were able to beat a fully healthy Minnesota team despite no LeBron. So, really big game for the Lakers. Heading over to those Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards had 31 points on 11 and 19 shooting, but didn't get much help beyond that. Randall added 26 points, but then DiVincenzo was the next high man, with 13 points, and only Jaden McDaniels was the only other player in double figures with 10. Mike Conley only played 9 minutes, I believe, in this one. He's looking like he might be a little washed. He is, of course, 38 years old. On a little bit of they're watching his minutes. I don't know if he's necessarily on a restriction, but they do want him playing fewer minutes this year to lighten his load. So I probably need to get DiVincenzo's rating up, and then Conley's down closer to like the 75, 76 range. Portland Trailblazers played their first game post Chauncey Billups, and they blew out the Warriors 139 to 119. They were probably fortunate to face an old Warriors team on a back-to-back. This is definitely one of those games I would consider a schedule win, or for the Warriors, like a schedule loss, more likely. Denny Abdia was solid in this one, 26 points. Jeremy Grant with another big game off the bench, 22 points, having a bounce back season after he was miserable from the field last year. Drew Holiday re-upping his playmaking game after spending a lot of time in Boston playing off of Jason Tatum. He had 12 points and 11 assists in this one. But yeah, Tiago Splitter got his first win in his first game as head coach. Golden State. Curry, they dropped to 2-1 for what it's worth. The Warriors uh, were without Al Horford because it was back to back. So Quentin Post got the start. Post had 5 points in 16 minutes, and they were carried once again by Steph. 35 points, 7 threes. He's once again off to a super hot start. 100% deserves this 96, shiny 96 overall rating that he's got. Looking like another All NBA season as long as he stays healthy. Jimmy Butler started this game at shooting guard, so I did adjust his secondary position. They actually ran with him at the two in last game down the stretch. He had 14 points in 27 minutes in this one. Again, because it was a back-to-back, they were probably watching all the old guys' minutes. Um, so Brandon Pajemski, he came off the bench, had 8 points on 2 of 9 shooting. He struggled in the first two games, but he's essentially the backup for Steph Curry, even in games where he does start. So it did make sense to just bring him off the bench with Moses Moody healthy. He returned after missing the last 5 games, 3 preseason, 2 regular season, with an elbow injury. He had 7 points on 1 of 6 shooting his return, and that also meant a quiet night for Buddy Hield, only 12 minutes, 2 points on 0 of 2 shooting. So uh, they went with Post, and then they started Green, Kuminga, and then Butler. So uh, if they continue to start like a natural five, I feel like based on matchup, the Warriors lineups are going to be like all over the place, but I would maybe shift those guys down in the lineup. But I think it is fair to have Butler's secondary position at two at the shooting guard, uh, rather than the four, based on like given Kuminga's playing a much larger role. Kuminga was also hurt a lot of last season after the Butler trade, so I think that's an important secondary position change. The Kings, they got their first win of the year with Domantas Sabonis making his triumphant return. They beat the Jazz 105 to 104. Sabonis had 12 points, 12 rebounds. He was expected to miss 2 games, only missed one. He was probably limited in this one, so that would explain the decrease, only 12 points for him. But the Kings desperately need him at any type of level, as they have no front court at all without him or Keegan Murray. Isaac Jones got the start at power forward in this one, as Nick Clifford, last game starter, got hurt in the opener. Jones had 2 points in 14 minutes, so they still really don't have much here. Dario Saric played better than he did in the opener, but yeah, they were saved by Zach LaVine, who had 31 points. Malik Monk added 20 off the bench, so Utah's perimeter defense not exactly the greatest. DeMar DeRozan, a quiet game for him, 9 points on 3 of 9 shooting. Probably need to get that 87 rating down a bit. Going over to the Jazz, Lauri Markkanen might have been a reason for DeRozan's struggles, since he's the cross match, and there's a half a foot of difference between those guys. But he's in the midst of a bounce back season, dealt with the back injury all of last year. He had 33 points in this one, so probably got to get his rating probably got to swap DeRozan and Laurie's ratings at the very least. Uh, Keontae George, he had 18 points, 10 assists after having a solid preseason. Isaiah Collier is yet to make his debut, so I got to get his rating below George's, I think, at the very least. And Walter Clayton Jr., 10 points off the bench. He's been playing a role as a rookie, so let's actually make some adjustments here. And we're going to boost Clayton up to role player. And I think we should just max out Keontae for the moment. And then we'll play things there. I have to work on the ratings for quite a number of players in the NBA. 2K is not the 2K focuses on the top 50 players in the league for the most part, like top 50, top 100. Not a lot of those on the Utah Jazz, so it's always the guys in the NBA's middle class who get shafted ratings wise or have like either super overrated or super underrated. Aside from Markkinen and Keontae George, Ace Bailey, he's the one of the only players who's off to like a super, only rookies who's off for a super disappointing start after having a really good preseason. 0 points on 0 for 5 shooting. I think he got hurt at the end of preseason, so maybe he's like dealing with that. Um, yeah, it's something to keep an eye on. I don't want to overreact if he is dealing with an injury, rather just keep him where he's at. And then finishing off with the Clippers, who beat the Suns, moving up to 1-1 on the year, 129 to 102. Bounce back for Kawhi Leonard after he was quiet in the opener, 27 points. James Harden had 30 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Derek Jones got hot. Oh man, I have to get his rating up. He's not even in the top 10. Definitely should be rated higher than Bogdanovich. I have the Clippers ratings done. I added the Bucks. Um, in this one, I definitely got to get some of these Clippers ratings adjusted because that's not he shouldn't even have a higher rating than Chris Dunn either. Um, but Jones had the hot hand in this one, 6 of 6 from the field, 5 of 5 from three, had 17 points. Bradley Beal did not have the hot hand. He's been very quiet. Hardly a revenge game for him against his former team. He had 6 points on 2 of 4 shooting. Has been very low volume the first 2 games. So that's very notable for a forward 30-point scorer, right? We, yeah. Though I mean, touch tendencies definitely gotta go down. I'll adjust that here. Let's just get that down to 80. Just straight up 80, so that he's not the go-to guy on this team. But yeah, something to really keep an eye on. If he's only going to be taking a couple shots a game, we got to get that rating down as well. And then let's finish off with the Phoenix Suns, who dropped to 1-1. Dylan the Villain is back. It looks like he is the number 2 scoring option on this team, partly with Jalen Green sidelined, but in part because they don't have a lot of offensive talent on this team. He had 21 points in this one, 7 of 17 from the field, 5 of 10 from three. So last time he was a higher volume guy, it was not great for the Memphis Grizzlies. We'll see. If he's going to shoot like that, 5 of 10 from three, then it's okay. But not if he's going to shoot. He didn't shoot so well in the opener, which they lost. Or no, which they won. They lost this game that he played well in. The Clippers just, the defense for the Suns wasn't able to stop the Clippers at all. Devin Booker, he had 18 points, 7 assists. And then Mark Williams, he was ineffective off the bench. 2 points on 1 of 5 shooting, 14 minutes. Worth noting that the Clippers do have Ivica Zubac and Brook Lopez on that second unit. So that probably wasn't the easiest of nights for Mark Williams. The only center who played particularly well was Oso Ighodaro. So at some point, we probably need to get Ighodaro up to like a 77-ish rating once we do the ratings for everybody. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any thoughts from day 4 of the NBA. It was another big slate of games. I think we got through pretty efficiently. I'll see you guys tomorrow. There's only 5 games, so maybe we can dive in a little bit on some of these other performances that like Luka and Wemby have had. I'll see you guys later. Peace.